Hello and welcome to our CAD clips on AutoCAD 2007 3D. And over the course of these CAD clips, we're going to talk about some great kind of new exciting stuff with AutoCAD in general, and coupling that with a bunch of new 3D tools and all the experience that I've had. We're going to cover AutoCAD 2007 3D, and in this lesson we're just going to introduce some of the new tools and objects that we have with the software, and we'll continue that introduction into a second lesson, and then we'll actually kind of slow it down and start to do pick some individual aspects of the AutoCAD 2007 3D and kind of show you some really neat stuff. So I'd like to start by actually saying my favorite tool is the DCUCS command, and it's right down here, and we've always had the UCS, and dynamic UCS is a great tool now and alleviates a great deal of the task that I have when I'm trying to teach people how to use 3D. That one tool alone alleviates a lot of the work involved in learning how 3D works. The UCS, User Coordinate System, is a great tool, but it's always been difficult to try to teach people, and they've taken that work right out of my hands completely. So I thank you, Autodesk, for this wonderful tool, and that just opens up all kinds of other doors where we can do different things very quickly and skip over trying to teach people how to use the UCS command. So that's my favorite tool. Just a couple of things here, display changes that have happened. You'll notice I've got my model tabs and stuff. If you right click on here and go down to the bottom, you can't see it. It says hide layout and model tabs. You can do that and it'll gain you a little bit of space on your screen if you're modeling in 3D and you don't need to see your layout tabs. And then you can see down in here, you will have your layouts, additional layouts. You can click on them to toggle between them, or you can right click and say display layout tabs, and those things come back. So I'm just going to go in and hide those layout tabs. So just a little tip for you there. Now I'm going to just go in and draw some 3D objects, and then I'm going to use my great DCUCS. That's a tough one. Object tracking, materials, and some Boolean operations. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about toolbars and some of the new toolbars and tool palettes. And we've got a great dashboard type palette organizer that we have built in here. And we also have some great workspaces, my workspace and stuff. So that's really what we want to cover in the first part of this introduction. And then we're going to come back in a second introduction lesson and talk about the dashboard profiles, visual styles, using help, some different startup profiles and orbiting tips and stuff like that. So, and then we'll go into the third lesson. So we'll just go back into here. So I'm just going to start by just drawing some objects. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit over to here, and using my view toolbar, if you right click on any toolbar, you can see all the toolbars, and there's lots in there. Okay, and I'm just going to start by going to, for instance, a southwest isometric view on my view toolbar. And now I want to draw some solid objects or do some modeling. So I'm going to right click in here, and I'm just going to go grab my modeling tool. And we'll show you later how you can use workspaces to save all these configurations. So I can start by just going in, clicking on the box tool, drawing a box, placing it up. Okay, if I have my visual styles toolbar, you can click on here. Okay, and you can see different visual styles for that 3D object. You'll also notice that visual styles actually affect text as well. Kind of neat when you zoom in on it and stuff like that. So different things you can do with that. Now what I can do is, to continue along here, I'm going to draw kind of a wedge here. So I'm going to click wedge. What I'm going to do is I'm going to, I need an object snap. So I'm going to hit my F3 or turn my object snaps on. And I'm going to use an object tracking and lay a node in over there. Placing it once places it hovering again removes it. So I need to replace that. Now I can drag down like that, and then I can drag up, and if I can find that endpoint, I can click on there. I might have to change to wireframe to make that a little easier. Let's try that again, just so you can see what's going on. I'm going to click on here. I'm going to place, oh, now my UCS. I don't need my DCUS for this one. DUCS. Wedge from here. Notice it started to draw up the side of that wall. Click, and now I can go pick that endpoint. Okay, I had to turn my DUCS off because the purpose of DCUCS is that I can do this. Go grab, for instance, a cylinder command. Okay, and if this is on, which was what was doing before, now what I can do is I can hover over a different face and draw right on that face, which is absolutely wonderful. And using shift middle mouse button, okay, you can hover around. Okay, so I can pick on a face. Not only that, I can use my object tracking by picking points, a midpoint there and a midpoint there. And if I drag down, guess what? Now I'm drawing that cylinder directly on that face of that object. Shift first, middle mouse button, spin it around, go back to my visual styles, see what I have. Okay, I might go into here and click on my palettes. Inside of my palettes, I've got lots of different palettes in the palette set, and I can go, for instance, to a fabric material or something, and I can pick on that material and I can change that. Depending on my visual style will depend on how that will appear. Go back to here. Pick a different material, masonry perhaps. Masonry unit, brick modular. Click on there. Okay, and we can talk a little bit about scale factor and sizes. Okay, pick on here. Use that material, whatever you want. Okay, I can go in and now I want to draw a cylinder and remove it from there. So watch what happens. I'm going to draw a cylinder now. The problem now is if I try to draw that cylinder, I'm going to draw on that wall, which is great if that's what I wanted to do. Off of that face, I'm going to erase that. Okay, I'm going to draw a cylinder. This is where we need to turn the DUCS off. Pick a point, drag there, drag up. Okay, now I'm going to right click on here, go to my solid editing toolbar, and use my subtract and say subtract from here and here, enter this object, enter, and it removes that section. Shift, middle mouse button. Okay, anytime you want to move anything, okay, you can click on the object, and then if you go over to here, okay, your UCS icon, you can click on an axis, and then you don't even have to say move, you just drag it on that axis. Okay, if I want to move this straight up, click on this object, hover over the blue axis, pick once, move up, and then type in a number or a displacement. Okay, what happens if I pick on here and do this? Oh, I have more than one object. Hit escape a couple times. Do a regen. Okay, pick on this one object. Move here, and I can move that guy over there. Okay, if I want to switch in between, all I have to do is hit escape, go back and pick on here. I don't have to reselect the object. Okay, look what I'm doing. Pick on here, moving it across. So moving in 3D, so combining this little tool right in here, you can type in a number, and using this, our DUCS command, to draw on certain faces. Okay, shift, middle mouse button, spin around here. Okay, maybe I'll just go back to a hidden view. I want to draw something on there. Okay, I can use my rectangle command. I can hover, place a node, and then I can track to that location, and then I can draw a box. Oh, I used my snap, but that's okay. I can stretch or use my shift, grab two grips, move that up. Okay, I can take that and extrude that out if I want. Extrude this, enter, that type of thing. Oh, I extruded the big piece. Okay, so anytime you want to draw an object or an arc, you can pick a face. Wrong type of arc. Okay, maybe a polyline from here over. Okay, and around depending on what you want. Place a snap mode, click, click. Okay, start it on that face. Doesn't matter. Shift middle mouse button. You can see where that is. Okay, visual styles, etc. So just kind of puttering around a little bit with drawing on edges and drawing on faces, and we'll get into more of this a little bit later where I'll show you have a little bit more control. Okay, so let's just go back to the top view here. Okay, use DUCS, the layouts tab, draw some solids, use our command, object tracking, throw some materials, and Boolean operation, which is our add and subtract and union and interference. Okay, we've got a bunch more in here, and we do have some more training videos and CAD clips at dgcad or cadclips.com, which go through this specifically. I'm not going to go through all of these again. We've already got some CAD clips on that in our 3D AutoCAD 2006, so this hasn't really changed much. So toolbars, now we can right click and get any toolbar, but we can also use workspaces. Once we get all our toolbars the way we want, we have an actual toolbar, if you right click here, called workspaces. Okay, you can't see that. Workspaces. And when that's on, you can click on here and you can switch from, I have one called 3D toolbars. Okay, and I've saved this, and it basically has all the toolbars that we use for 3D. It's got the workspace toolbar, the modeling toolbar, UCS, UCS2, orbit, walk and fly, cameras, views, lights, rendering, mapping, okay, solid editing. So a lot of these commands in true AutoCAD fashion are on palettes, as well as toolbars, as well as menu clicks, as well as typing. Okay, so I just happen to have a workspace called 3D toolbars. Okay, if I turn this off and then I switch over to here, watch, I'll turn the modeling one off as well. Okay, and I'll switch over to the AutoCAD Classic workspace. Okay, this remembers this was the one I was working in beforehand. Okay, now watch, I'm going to go back and switch from here to be my 3D toolbars. And it remembers, you know, that I have these toolbars turned off. So what happens here, and we have one called My Workspace. Okay, we also can go in here and say Workspace Settings. Automatically save workspace settings. So when you switch workspaces, wherever you left off is where it will come back. We used to kind of control this with profiles, and now it's a little bit better than profiles. Okay, you've got new workspaces inside of there. Okay, if I hit escape there, if we go down here, we can say save current as. Well, maybe, you know, I've got these three, I'm going to make a new one. So maybe I'm going to, you know, turn this off and this off and this off and this off, and I can change the screen of my background. I can turn palettes on and off. I can do whatever I want. Okay, then I can go back to my workspace, probably through my workspace toolbar actually is the best way. And then I'm going to say save current as, and then I'm not going to use those. I'm going to use a new one and just call it, you know, CAD clips, and save it. Now I've got a workspace called CAD clips, and then I've got one called 3D toolbars. Okay, and then I've got, you know, one called 3D modeling, which comes out of the box with AutoCAD. So we have different workspaces, and we're going to talk about those. We can go into customize and have a look inside of there, and we can have a look at workspace settings. So workspaces are a great new feature that help you save, you know, all the environment, the whole workspace. Okay, oh, there's my customized one that came up, and you can see under AutoCAD workspaces, we've got different workspaces, and it's got different properties, and this is really where we want to look over here. These are the toolbars in that workspace, okay, that were all turned on. AutoCAD Classic, there's the toolbars, there's the menus, there's the dockable windows, there's the 3D workspace, and there's the toolbars. That one uses the menus, and you can drag and drop and cut and paste and go from the toolbars here and place those up and move them all around in some interesting ways. So your workspaces are being saved here under our customize. Going to ask me to save. So workspaces, really handy. And then we have workspace settings. And I wanted to say my workspace is my CAD clips. Hit OK. So now what happens, we have a button here that says my workspace. So bang, I hit my workspace. Oops. Here it is here. And it just automatically remembers which workspace is my workspace, and it just sets it up. So that was done under settings, setting my workspace to be CAD clips, and then this is the my workspace button. Okay. Also, when you start up your AutoCAD, it'll ask you in the window there with the green picture, the green background, what workspace that you want to start your AutoCAD in. AutoCAD Classic, AutoCAD 3D Modeling are the two defaults, and I've created one called 3D Toolbars and one called CAD Clips just now, and it's a combination of all your palettes, all your environment, all your toolbars. Okay, I'm just going to switch back to be my AutoCAD Classic so I can get rid of some of this stuff, and I can just check my notes. Visual styles, modeling, etc. So lots of interesting stuff in the palettes themselves right now, because we can click on here and we've really seen some great improvement in palettes. Okay, so if you click down in here, annotation, architectural, mechanical, electrical, all good stuff, and some materials, etc. Down in here, you can right click on a palette anytime. You can make it dockable. You can add transparency into this palette. You can customize, which is the same window we were just in. You can make a new palette. You can drag objects from the screen to the palettes. You can drag stuff from the customize window to the palettes, and then you can use the palettes. And then your palettes are saved in under your options. If you right click on here and you pick options down below, and you go into here, files, and you'll see that down inside of here it says tool palette locations. Okay, and that's where your tool palettes are being saved. And then we've got our profiles over here, okay, that we can have set up. 3D modeling, okay, there's a new tab in our options. Have a look around at all of this stuff. Okay, selection has changed a little bit. Okay, drafting, selection. Some of the stuff was new in 2006 and 2007, so have a look through all of this stuff. Display and colors and lots of different ways of setting up your screens and restoring the different features on there. And I've just noticed one last note here with toolbars. If you ever try to place a toolbar and it keeps docking itself and taking up space like that, if you hold your control button in first and then click it, you can drag those control in, you can put it on, and it won't morph itself or dock itself inside of there like this one's doing over here. It's docking itself inside of there. Okay. And that kind of concludes the first, just the first intro to our new AutoCAD 3D lessons. And we'll do another intro lesson next, and then we'll slow it down and actually do some drafting and some 3D modeling where we can kind of see the tools in action. So stay tuned for more great 3D information.